So I'm joined today by VCU head golf coach Matt Ball. We are reflecting on the 2002 team that reached the NCAA championships. Matt, what an incredible accomplishment. Can you believe it's been 18 years?
Hard to believe I've been around that long, but I still talk to some of those guys on a fairly regular basis, and uh, not too much reflecting back on that event specifically, but just good to see how they're moving on in their lives and what they're doing, and everybody turned out to be good members of society and contributing as they go.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's what we want to hear. During that particular regional, you guys had a particularly difficult first day and then managed to kind of pull it together. What do you remember about that start and what happened from there?
Well, this was this was golf team's equivalent to the basketball team's Final Four run. Very few mid-majors ever advanced through the regionals to the national championship. And this was our one and only time that we did it. We had won the conference championship, which was the CAA at the time, and we went down and we had a chance to go on our way. We were going to Atlanta to Setting Creek, but we had a chance to go to Hawks Ridge for 2 days before, which gave us a great opportunity to practice on really fast, firm greens on a great golf course, Hawks Ridge in Ball Ground, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. And we spent 2 days there just playing and practicing. And I remember one time Ryan Zylstra, he didn't really come from a family of means, and he just couldn't get enough of the place. He's like, I'll probably never play on another golf course like this the rest of my life. I'm going to take advantage of it. And he's playing 36 holes a day and going over and playing the par 3 course and hitting balls. I mean, literally there, sun up to sundown, you got to worry about him getting too tired before the tournament. But I remember that specifically and how he was just so excited to be there and be doing that. So we go to Setting Creek. It was probably the greatest setup for a regional that we've been to. Just in that the way they had the food service for the players was in a nice lounge overlooking the 9th and 18th greens. There's a huge scoreboard outside the window. All the food you could possibly want. Anytime players went up there, they could pig out on anything they wanted as much as they wanted. So we played the first day, and yeah, it was really rough. We played in the morning. Just to cut back then it was 27 teams in each of 3 regions, and the top 10 advanced to the national championship. And that was the spring after 9/11. So there was all these travel restrictions. So instead of trying to make the fields even, they just sent everybody to the closest one to try to minimize flights as much as possible. So the southeast of the United States is really, really strong. We had 11 of the top 30 teams in the country in our region. So one of the top 30 was not going to end up in the top 30 at the end of the event. So we're at Setting Creek. We go out and play first day. It's obviously not a great day for us. We shoot 306. Now the course was really hard, but 306 was still not very good. And we were in 23rd place after the first day. So we go up and we go up and pig out and eat. And so I told the guys, I'm like, guys, the greens are really hard and we're not reacting to them and adjusting very well. So after we eat, we're going to go out and we're going to walk around the golf course backwards and watch the afternoon wave and watch how the balls are received by the greens and how the ball reacts on all the greens all the way around the golf course. So that's what we did that afternoon. We spent walking around and watching the teams play in the afternoon. Come back out the next day, and they made the adjustment and played great. I'm probably going to say that the 67 that Ryan Zylstra shot may be the all-time greatest round ever shot in VCU golf history. The golf course was so difficult. To give you an idea, we shoot 2 under par with his 67, which was 5 under, and we moved from 23rd place to 5th place in the field. So 67 was obviously really, really good.
Yeah.
So we go back up and we're pigging out and we're eating, and you can see the scoreboard. And as the afternoon goes on, we start climbing the leaderboard as teams are destroying themselves out there on the golf course. So we get to go out the next day, and we're paired with defending champion Florida, who's ranked 5th in the country, and Wake Forest, who's ranked 4th in the country. And we're down there, and we're playing in the wave with the best teams. So all the teams that are there all the time. So we're sort of the outcasts down there. And coaches are like, well, it's kind of like you get a feel of, man, great job being here. You've done your thing, fantastic. That was great achievement. But we didn't feel like we were done. So we go up, and I'm standing on the first tee with all the guys and give them a little pat on the back before they tee off. And here goes Wake and Florida. They're hitting one left, one right, VCU down the middle. Wake, one left, one right, VCU down the middle. All 5 of our guys ripped it right down the middle on the first tee. I'm like, man, this is pretty good. We're off to a pretty good start. So we go out and we just play a really solid round, which on that course, 296, which is 8 over par, was a really solid round. So we averaged 2 over per player. Ted Brown, I know he shot 72 the last 2 days, so he kind of helped us out that right down the stretch there. But I remember we get to the 9th hole, and Bill Haas, who's on the tour, he's over in the hay on the right side, and he's thrashing it, and he walks out of there with a 9. We get to the, I think it's the 11th hole, and Camilo Villegas, he's over there, and he's in a ditch, and then he hacks it out into the hay and back into the ditch and in the water, and somebody's over there counting. I think he ended up with like a 12 on the hole. I mean, there's big numbers all over this golf course. And we're just pretty much putzing down the middle of the fairways and doing our thing. So we get to the end of the round, and there's scoreboards everywhere. And I'm with Ryan Zylstra, who's been the number 1 spot after his great round. And there's a scoreboard that still shows us firmly in 5th place by about 4 or 5 shots, I think. And on the 18th hole, he's over in the right rough, 223 yards away. Remember it like it's yesterday. And there's a ditch right in front of the green, and it's no good over the green. And so I'm standing up and say, so Ryan, what are you going to do? And he's like, I'm going to hit a 4-wood and cut a little 4-wood up there on the green. I'm like, I think I got a better plan. He says, what do you mean? That's a great plan, coach. I'm like, yeah, but we're in pretty good shape. All we got to do is get out of here without, hemorrhaging, and we're going to the national championship. I said, how about you just take a 9-iron, knock it out there and wedge it on the green? You're putting great, you're wedging it great, and let's make par or bogey, and we're going to national championship. So that's what he does. He didn't really want to, but he agreed that it was probably the best way to go, and wedges it out there. I'm pretty sure he knocked it up there, and through all the excitement, I can't remember if he made the putt or not, but we wound up shooting 296, which held its 5th place spot. And 4th ranked Wake Forest was the team that did not get to go. That was in the top 30 that did not get to go to the national championship. So that was unbelievable. The guys were just so steady and played their game, but just paying attention and being aware of how the balls reacted on the greens, and they adjusted accordingly. It was so exciting. And just to be, I was so nervous. I was more nervous than all of them. I can guarantee you.
What do you now, 18 years later, what do you carry most when you think about that team? What do you think about the most? What sticks with you?
Probably not the most talented team that we've ever had, but some guys who could gut it out, and they were really good putters. I think at least 3 of them were really good putters, and we had enough length, and we were ranked like 72nd or something in the country, which resembles the basketball team final four run. And just the fact that if you do your thing and you do it to the best of your ability, you just never know what can happen. And to see kids do something that they probably never even really dreamed of and never thought that they would be able to do that. And that's kind of what I get out of coaching the most, is kids doing things they didn't realize that they were capable of doing. And then they do them. And that's just what's so cool. And that group, they just pulled off something that was absolutely spectacular. And that 67 that Ryan had, I'll never forget it. Ryan was a real interesting character, because he had a bad temper on the golf course, which is not my favorite thing to deal with. But I learned pretty quick that if you get on him on the golf course when he doesn't act the way he should act out there, he always responds with a couple birdies. So I was always looking for an opportunity. He was a hockey player, and that was the way he responded to coaching. Coaches would get on his butt, and he'd step up and perform. So I was always looking for opportunities for him to do something that I felt like it was stupid, so I could get on him, and then I'd kind of turn around and laugh that, I just set him up for success by getting on him pretty good. So, he responded really well. And I do remember somewhere in the beginning of that round, over next to a pond, I got on him pretty good on about the 4th or 5th hole when he shot that 67.
Really, truly an incredible accomplishment. One of the greatest team accomplishments in VCU Athletics history. Any other memories from that year or that run that you think about or reflect on?
Well, the CAA tournament was played at the Crossings here in Richmond, and both the first and the second day was like a wedge fest out of the gate, and we got out so strong. And I think we shot 278 and 276, I think, which at the time were records for the lowest scores ever shot. But we were hitting wedges to 2 feet, 1 foot, 3 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet. Ted Brown shoot 64. But our wedge play was just so incredible. And we'd finished like 4th and 5th and 6th or something in the tournaments leading up to that. So we were trending really well. But Wilmington put up a pretty good fight. But these guys, like I said, back then we had a bunch of hockey players, and they got in contention. They were playing good. They could close the deal. When they weren't playing well, they didn't always hang in there the best. But when they were in contention, they could close the deal, and they closed the deal to get us to the regional. We would have been right on the bubble. I believe that we were tied with Maryland for the last spot to get a selection to get into the tournament. But because we won the conference championship, it took care of it, and Maryland got in as well.
Anything we missed? Any other memories you want to share? You said you had some stories that I didn't know if there were any additional stories that you wanted to kind of pop in there.
No, I mean, I think I pretty much laid all the ones that really stick with me the most.
Yeah.
Ryan at
I mean, that's all good stuff.
At Hawks Ridge, I mean, he was just like a kid in a playground, and he was never going to run out of energy. And it paid off for him big time, because the greens up here at the time, they weren't that fast. And the greens at Setting Down Creek, I mean, they were probably 13 on the centimeter, which is Augusta National fast, and they were as hard as the parking lot. It was so difficult to control the ball on the greens, and then you had to roll it really well. Well, I really do believe that going to Hawks Ridge for 2 days and putting on their really fast greens really set us up for the opportunity to have that success, because we wouldn't have putted nearly as good. I don't think we wouldn't have been as prepared, because at 13, if you're used to being on slow greens, you're just very tentative. But if you're if you're used to putting on it, you can control the nerves and you can make aggressive strokes and still roll at the right distance. But I mean, 13 is almost like putting the ball on the countertop, and just tapping it and, see when it's going to stop. So speed control is really, really tough.
Wow. That's tough. And then did you know, I mean, like, do you know beforehand, how much information do you know about the regional course going into it in terms of, do you know that it's the greens are a 13 before you get there, and that's helps you choose, where you want to practice?
We had heard that, but in 2002, the internet wasn't nearly where it is today. The information that we have now is, you know, easy to come by, but back then we didn't know very much. We heard it was a good golf course. It was tight, and that the greens would probably be, really fast. We didn't know they'd be that hard. But getting down there in that region and, chipping on the same grass and just made all the difference, I think, to have a couple days of just pure. I mean, it wasn't like practice. Those guys were just out there having fun
Sure.
for 2 days, and having fun is really the best educational tool, and preparing yourself for golf. So if you can have fun while you're developing your game, that's when you're going to learn the most. And they had a blast being treated like kings and eating in the nice clubhouse and all that stuff. We got treated great, and then we go and had the greatest treatment, at a regional that I've seen. Just the sitting there and watching our name just climb the leaderboard that second day throughout the whole afternoon. That was something to behold. There we go, another spot. There we go, two more spots. Holy cow! They just went 4 over par on that hole or whatever. The scores were just so high. People were just destroying themselves out there.
What were the guys like after the first day, and you guys were sitting 23rd?
Well, we knew that we were playing against teams that we don't traditionally beat, and they were kind of bummed, and they wanted to play well, but they didn't really know what the answer was. And I just felt like, from having been there and watching what was going on, that the answer was that we need to control our shots into the greens way better. That we're playing good golf, but we're just not handling that. So going around the golf course, and they're pretty nonchalant and out there kind of as spectators, but we didn't know the next day's hole locations, but we had ideas that we used in the practice rounds of where they would probably be. And so it helps you to just, when you go through a golf course backwards, it helps you map out your plan of how you want to attack certain hole locations.
Okay, that makes sense.
They were pretty excited after the second day. Yeah. And at that point they knew that, wow, this could really happen. Yeah. But nobody else was expecting us to hang in there the last day.
Wow. Well, pretty awesome. Hopefully you got a few more of those in you.
I hope so. It's always tough, but like I say, once you get a group of guys, and if they're on a good trend and they believe in themselves, as I always tell them, there's no defense in golf. Never-ending constant improvement in your own game. Eventually, you can surpass all others, and that's why you have so many guys on the PGA Tour that didn't play in the big-name programs. They just keep on improving and learning, and there's nothing to stop you. There's nobody's defending you, so it's all up to you. And you get a good mindset and you get a good run in you, and you're swinging the club good and you're thinking clearly. Anything can happen to most anybody at that level.
Yeah,
and it did that week.
Yeah, sure did. All right. Did I miss anything that you want to?
That's it.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you. That was fun to relive.